if you want a beginner-friendly strategy, I highly recommend this one. Boomer Sub Glue is amazing for beginners, and this is why. Boomer is extremely good at dealing with a lot of early rushes, and just like Eco Suns as well. And so it's very straightforward to defend everything with Boomer, except for one little rush that most people don't use. We'll get to that in a sec. The other benefit of this that's going to make it really helpful to beginners is that Boomer and Glue are both primary towers, which makes them extremely cheap to buy. I think they're both 150 monkey money each. And Sub is a military monkey instead of something like Village. And so it's also going to be only 500 monkey money to unlock. And so you can get this entire strategy for about 800 monkey money, and then be immediately going into saving for trying out different heroes you want to try out and that sort of thing. Instead of having to worry about spending a bunch of money to unlock something like Druid or Dartling that's more expensive, it's going to be very cheap. You're going to be able to get everything super quickly right off the bat and be able to use this strategy immediately. The next benefit of it is that Boomer is just extremely simple to defend with. You can see this Glaive Ricochet here with a 302 crosspath is doing extremely well against full eco, and there's not much that I'm really worried about up until the yellows. If your opponent sends enough yellows, Glaive Ricochet will eventually fail, but it's usually not a huge concern. And the thing is that after that, once you get more glaives, even if your opponent sends unlimited zebras or unlimited yellows, you're not concerned at all. More glaives handles it. In fact, even for regen rainbow rushes, more glaives can handle extremely well, and your opponent is going to have to send a ton for it to even be something that you would have to consider as a threat at all if you're using Boomer. And that's why I think that this strategy is extremely good for beginners, because early on, there's not much you can worry about. You can just focus on your eco and make sure you're getting it 100% down. Because eco is really important. Knowing when you're supposed to be rushing is very important. And if you're able to focus on those things, you'll be way ahead of the curve in terms of getting better at the game. I'm just going to boost this here to avoid losing more lives than I need to. And that's more glaives. Now, we're pretty safe from just about everything. You can see, like, right now, there is nothing I am scared of at all. I have Boomer, and I have this sub, so I'm not scared of camo. I'm not scared of any purple rushes. I'm even not scared next round of a round 13, like a regen rainbow rush. There is one small thing that I am concerned about, and that is going to actually be spaced regen ceramics. These, weirdly, are spaced just enough out. Are you gonna die to that? Bro. The spaced ceramics are just far enough from each other that the more glaives won't bounce between them. And so if you set enough, your opponent will have a very tough time actually getting all those to break without boosting, which is very bad. You don't want to boost for just some round 15 ceramic. So your big options are, one is very simply just to glue them, and that's going to slow them enough down that more glaives doesn't have any issues. Another is to go for a ballistic missile, and that's also going to be pretty helpful for mobs. The third is just go for like a bionic boomerang or turbocharge, and turbocharge is also your primary defense for a lot of rushes, other than stalling them. Which final reason why boomer is extremely good is that more glaives basically handles all of the balloon rushes, and then for mob rushes you want two things. You want to be able to stall them. The bottom path of boomerang, or this right here, going to stall any balloons that get hit. And if you have 3 of them, you can basically permastall ZOMG. And if you use the bottom path at glue to get mob glue, it's going to be even stronger at doing that. So you're really, okay, this is not a good idea, dude. Let's just show you. Boom. Not worried. Turbocharge handles that. Turbocharge is able to clean things up really well, whereas your bottom path boomer is able to stall extremely well. Moab glue will slow things down to make it even easier for your other towers, so you don't have to worry about it. And the ballistic missile is just all around an extremely good tower that is going to do a lot of legwork for you in many different aspects. let's get the small breast here. You can see, yeah, this is just pushing attack. Not much to be worried about. Should probably remove these. Just realized that at the last second there. But all these factors make this Boomer Sub Glue strategy extremely straightforward to play and get some results with. And so instead of focusing too much on your defense, your focus should be on stuff like how are you ecoing? When should you eco? Oh, you're dumb. I am not concerned by that at all. Just see, Turbocharge handles that. No issues. Turbocharge carries that defense. Morglaze handles everything inside. Eventually, Azili is the best hero to use this strategy for the most part. It's just a lot of extra damage to mobs and helps with insides that normally can be tricky. Oben can work extremely well, and you could probably do something like Ben. You can also try, if you want, to replace Glue with Farm if you want to do something a bit more complicated. But I don't necessarily recommend that. It is a bit more complicated, and a lot of times beginners struggle with just eco. And so if you keep it simple and just play an eco strategy like this, I think that makes it a lot easier. Okay, this is no issues here. You can see, even with only one bottom path boomer and Mob Glue, we are stalling this extremely well. This UMG is not moving much at all. And it's basically just gonna sit here while it's nice and low for our turbocharge with these inner layers, or for Azili to handle it. And if you're using open trees, you can also just have that, and that's going to handle things super well, so you don't have any issues. Yeah, he's spent all this money to send this UMG, and this is the most casual defense ever. We are not worried at all right now. But I believe that my friend here should be worried. There we go. Because now that he's sent that, and he's a little less money, and oh, I screwed that up actually. I'm dumb. I'm going to send a super layered rush and make his life miserable. He does not rocket storm this, he is just going to die here. Does boost. He's still leaking a little bit though, and that should kill him. So yeah, we don't have to worry about any rushes as far as UMGs and beyonds. All we gotta do is figure out how to kill our opponent, and that's why I think this strategy is extremely good for beginners.